If you could bring back the loved one you've lost, but the price is sacrificing your own life, would you do it? Perhaps this man can give you the answer you're looking for. The man jolts awake from his sleep, only to find that his girlfriend, who died in a tragic crash yesterday, has somehow come back to life. He is so shaken that he can't even speak, until she gently pulls him into her arms. Feeling the warmth of her touch, he finally wakes from his daze, realizing she's truly there. It seems that the horrific accident from yesterday was nothing more than a terrifying, fleeting nightmare, but just as Ian begins to calm down, he notices another unsettling detail. This is the exact same suit he wore yesterday. Ian instinctively thinks about changing into something else. Suddenly, he remembers, yesterday, Sam burned her hand on the kettle, but this time, she's using a towel to protect her hand. The doubts in Ian's heart vanish like mist. He thinks once again that perhaps he's just overthinking things, but just as they share an intimate moment, the unexpected happens once more. Sam accidentally burns herself with the curling iron. Ian's heart instantly leaps into his throat. He stares at Sam, completely stunned by her injury. Doubts begin to rush back into his mind like a rising tide. To see if this is all just an illusion, he takes Sam's hand, and takes a different, winding route to work. Along the way, he keeps a watchful eye out for anyone carrying a drink, because yesterday, Sam got soaked when someone spilled their drink on her. Sure enough, the person with the drink appears, like a ghost from a repeating yesterday, making Ian's heart tighten with anxiety once more. Ian quickly pulls Sam close to shield her. This sudden, protective gesture leaves Sam utterly astonished, but his deep anxiety and worry, and all of his unusual behavior, stemmed from his profound love and desire to protect her. Just as Ian feels slightly more at ease, thinking the danger has passed, another passerby walking toward them suddenly spills their drink. In that moment, Ian's panic and helplessness are magnified, unfolding clearly right before Sam's eyes. He stared intently at Sam's drink. Ian finally understood. Everything he experienced yesterday wasn't just a dream. The burn on Sam's skin, the burning pain, and the shirt right before him stained by the spilled drink, they were all witnesses to this cruel reality. Everything happening today is a haunting replay of yesterday. He could even foresee that his watch would shatter into pieces on the way to work. Watching Ian slowly lose his composure, Sam knew deep down that the man she loved was being swallowed by fear and confusion. To ease Ian's troubled heart, Sam suggested they head to his office together, to see for themselves exactly what would happen to the watch he was so sure would break. Sure enough, as they stepped through the office doors, everything remained as peaceful as ever. There wasn't a single ominous sign in sight. With a soft, radiant smile, Sam gently asked him for the time. When Ian checked, he found the watch perfectly intact. There wasn't even a single scratch on it. In that moment, the heavy burden on his heart finally eased. Perhaps he really was just overthinking everything, but in the very moment he breathed a sigh of relief. Yesterday's nightmare was once again confirmed in a startling way. Welcome to Film Focus, where we share the most touching stories. If Ian and Sam's journey is moving your heart, please subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. After work, he tried to share his bizarre experience with his friend. However, his words didn't seem to carry any weight with them. They simply thought Ian was playing some kind of joke. Some even teased that he was just under too much pressure. It's nothing but a hallucination, they said. Just as Ian was sinking into a sea of doubt and questioning his own sanity, a sudden billiard ball shattered his train of thought. He instinctively reached out and caught it, because yesterday, a glass had shattered in that very spot. An indescribable surge of fear, an overwhelming sense of fear and profound sorrow welled up in Ian's heart. Now, he felt completely and utterly helpless. This was no illusory dream. It was a cruel reflection of the reality he had to face. He realized that Sam might still, in that merciless accident, lose her life. The thought pierced his heart like a sharp blade, driving him to find Sam at once. Just to make sure she was safe, he rushed out onto the street like a whirlwind. He hailed a taxi and hurried towards Sam, but as he climbed inside, he was stunned to see that the driver was the very same man from the accident the night before. The driver's gaze and his tone were both unsettlingly strange. It was as if he knew the whole story from beginning to end. So, Ian began to question him. How could he ever escape this cruel twist of fate? But the driver remained as silent as a stone. Ian's emotions slowly began to spiral out of control. He started to yell and shout, desperately trying to break through this wall of silence. Just as Ian was on the very edge of losing his mind, the driver finally spoke. His voice was gentle, kind, and filled with peace. Just as Ian was about to pay for this bizarre journey, as Ian went to settle the fare, a mysterious, inscrutable smile flickered across the driver's face. He explained simply, "The you from yesterday has already paid the fare." Ian stood there, frozen in shock, unable to move for a long time. After getting out of the car, Ian began to run wildly. The only thought in his heart was to find Sam as quickly as possible. He wove through the city's winding streets and narrow alleys, searching every possible corner he could think of. Finally, inside a clothing store, he caught sight of that familiar, beloved figure. Gasping for breath, he rushed into the shop and grabbed Sam's hand tightly and desperately tried to explain everything that had happened. He spoke so fast he was almost incoherent, his words tumbling over each other. Ian told her they had to leave this place immediately. It didn't matter where they went, as long as they could stay far away from this unpredictable disaster. But just as they were stepping out of the shop, a minor car accident unfolded right before Ian's eyes. Although no one was seriously hurt, this sudden, unexpected event caused a wave of intense dread to surge through Ian's heart once again. So, amidst the bustling crowds at the station, Ian let Sam decide exactly where they should go. He thought that perhaps if they stayed far away from this place, that tragic accident would never happen again. However, once the train began to move, and the world outside the window started to drift by, Ian felt a strange, haunting sense of familiarity. He gazed at the scenery as it faded into the distance, wondering quietly to himself where exactly Sam's ticket was taking them. Sam keenly sensed the confusion in Ian's eyes. She leaned in and whispered softly to him, "This train is heading straight for your hometown." Sam's eyes sparkled with a gentle curiosity and a sense of wonder as she explained her choice. She had never had the chance to visit Ian's parents, and she longed to see the place where her love had grown up. She wanted to know all about the childhood years she hadn't shared with him. As he listened to Sam, a wave of warmth filled Ian's heart. He was deeply touched by her devotion and her sweet, thoughtful nature. A tear of pure emotion shimmered in the corner of his eye. He wanted to speak, to whisper sweet nothings to match the love Sam gave him, but as the words reached his lips, he realized that even the most beautiful declaration could never truly be worthy of her deep, unconditional love. Ian's hometown was nestled atop a lush, green mountain, where the clouds and mist swirled around the peak, and the mountain stood tall and majestic. However, just as they were about to reach their journey's end, a soft autumn rain began to fall. A sudden rain fell like a delicate, misty veil, instantly shrouding the entire mountain landscape. But these sudden, dancing raindrops didn't slow them down at all. Instead, they added a touch of magic and romance to the day. Hand in hand, they ran through the rain, laughing and playing, until they finally found shelter in a small stone cottage. The little cabin was filled with a cozy warmth, a rustic and cozy atmosphere, but the damp chill prompted Ian to light a fire for warmth. Yet, as he was tending to the wood, his watch accidentally struck the hard stone wall. At that very moment, an indescribable, sharp pang of pain shot through his heart. The agony left him momentarily dazed. When he pulled back his sleeve, it was exactly as he had feared. The watch, which had been perfectly fine, was now shattered. It felt as though fate had already been written, leaving him no way to escape this haunting cycle. He felt utterly hopeless, his spirit crushed. He turned to gaze at Sam, his eyes filled with a storm of regret and a desperate longing to hold on. And Sam's only response to him was a smile even sweeter than before. Outside, the rain whispered like a mournful song, tapping rhythmically against the roof and the window pane. Every drop seemed to strip away another layer of the tears hidden deep within Ian's soul. It caused his grief to pour out like an uncontrollable flood. Amidst that endless curtain of rain, Ian slowly tried to steady his heart, but no matter how hard he tried to hold it back, that overwhelming sadness followed him like a shadow. It kept surging into his heart, over and over again. He turned his back to her, and with a voice that trembled ever so slightly, he asked Sam a strange question. "If you only had one day left to live, how would you spend it?" Sam thought the question was a bit out of the blue, but she began to consider it with all her heart. Her eyes sparkled with a deep love for life, and a beautiful hope for what was to come. She joked about finally buying those shoes she'd been eyeing forever, and then stuffing herself with ice cream until she couldn't move, and maybe ending the night by causing a little trouble at a bar. That sounds perfect. Ian thought those were her true desires. But then, the playful light in Sam's eyes suddenly softened into something deeper. Ian's gaze shifted from surprise to a blurred haze of emotion. He clenched his jaw tight, fighting with everything he had to keep the tears from falling, but the profound sorrow in his eyes was impossible to hide. At this moment, he finally understood the true meaning of love. He realized just how much he had let slip away. All those moments that should have been spent cherishing her, the warmth of just being together, the sweet promises they shared, and the tender care he should have shown, they had all become empty spaces, lost to his neglect. All that lingering regret and longing could only be expressed in the simplest words of love. But as the clouds cleared and the sun began to shine, they walked across the old stone bridge. Hand in hand, they returned to Ian's childhood home, tucked away in the mountain. The two of them stepped into a quaint, cozy little pub. There, he finally opened his heart to Sam, sharing stories of his childhood, and the little moments that shaped him. He pointed to a faded, yellowing photograph on the wall, his eyes sparkling with a quiet pride. He told Sam that the man in the photo, was the father he admired so much. But as the conversation turned to his late father, a shadow of sadness clouded Ian's face once more. But fortunately, Sam was right there by his side. With her gentle, steady gaze, she offered him the deepest comfort and understanding. Love is simply the comfort we give in moments of sorrow. Love is the warmth of a body pressed against yours. When your soul is aching and needs to be held, it doesn't need grand gestures or elaborate rituals. It only needs a heart that is true, and the simple gift of being there. That alone is enough to let love bloom. As they strolled peacefully along the winding country path, Sam suddenly remembered her plans for the evening. She had her graduation concert, and a flicker of anxiety crossed her eyes. It was the moment she had been waiting for her whole life. But Ian frantically tried to convince her that they could go anywhere but back. Anywhere at all, as long as it wasn't London. But Sam's passion for music burned as bright as a blazing fire. She had been playing the violin for 16 years, and tonight's graduation concert meant everything to her. How could she ever let such a moment slip away? Sam's eyes were steady, shimmering with a quiet hope, because that stage held all of her dreams. Perhaps it was that very passion that finally touched Ian's soul. He decided to do everything in his power to fulfill his beloved's dream. At the same time, a plan that came with a heavy price began to take root deep within his heart. He knew how much she longed to step onto that stage and finally sing the songs she had written herself, but because she lacked the courage, she had never been able to take that final, brave step to help her find the strength she needed. After they returned to the city, Ian held Sam's hand tightly in his own and led her onto the Ferris wheel she had always feared, yet secretly yearned to ride with all her heart. The Ferris wheel began its slow, graceful turn, carrying their gaze toward the shimmering city skyline. Perhaps it was because her love was right there beside her, but Sam, who usually feared height, felt no fear at all. She said it was truly love that made her forget her fears. However, this was only one small part of Ian's plan. He had another beautiful surprise waiting for her. As they were getting ready for the concert, Ian discreetly took Sam's original sheet music that she had written herself. He made an excuse about having to handle some business at the office, but he was actually off to set his secret plan in motion. He hoped that, at the very last moment, he would see Sam overcome her fears and stand tall upon that stage to sing the song she had written from the depths of her soul. He stepped into a print shop to make 99 copies of her lyrics, and then, holding a bouquet of fresh flowers, he arrived early at the bustling venue. There, he met with the staff and carefully coordinated every detail of his plan. Every single step revealed his devotion and his deepest hopes. The staff members present couldn't help but be moved by the sincerity of his heart. They all stepped up, eager to lend him a helping hand. Everything was coming together, just as it was meant to be. As the evening lights began to glow, the venue was filled with an air of joy and anticipation. When the first performance came to a graceful close, and everyone turned to the second page of the lyrics, Sam's eyes widened in pure shock. A look of utter disbelief washed over Sam's face, because there, right in front of her, was the song she had written herself. Every single word, every note felt so achingly familiar. And right at that moment, the conductor spoke to the audience. A warm and steady voice suddenly echoed. He announced that there was a very special guest tonight, by an artist from America, Sam, who had agreed to grace them with a song, an original piece written entirely by her. Under the eager, watchful eyes of the crowd, Sam slowly made her way up onto the stage. But standing there, bathed in the brilliant glow of the spotlight, she couldn't hide the fear trembling within her. Her hands shook uncontrollably as she gripped the microphone. Even after the intro had played 3 times, Sam still found herself unable to sing a single word. The audience began to whisper among themselves. A mix of confusion and anticipation hung heavy in the air. In that pivotal moment, Sam's eyes searched through the blinding stage light until she found Ian standing right there by the side of the stage. Their eyes met in that instant, as if an invisible force was reaching out across the room, binding their hearts together as one. Ian's eyes were filled with such warmth, encouragement, and trust. That reckless, yet incredibly tender gesture of his felt like a ray of light, warming her soul, lighting up every hidden corner of Sam's heart. Bathed in the warm radiance of love, her once drifting heart finally found its home. In that final, breathtaking moment, she finally found the courage to sing with her own true voice. That proud, beautiful girl stood tall and poured her soul into the song she wrote, just for her beloved Ian. Her voice was as pure as an angel's, filled with a graceful pride. Every single note seemed to carry the weight of her deepest love and devotion. As the melody unfolded, the raw emotion in the air grew more intense, more beautiful. Her passion swept through the entire hall like a gentle wave, captivating every soul and drawing them into her song. As the final note drifted softly into the air, from the audience below, a thunderous roar of applause and cheers suddenly erupted. The warmth of their praise surged like a powerful tide, echoing on, never wanting to end. She couldn't wait another second to rush into Ian's arms, holding him close in a tender, soulful embrace. She whispered her thanks for everything he had done for her. That pure joy stayed with her throughout the entire night. Even hours later, she was still floating on a cloud of excitement and bliss. She spoke endlessly, sharing every little feeling in her heart with him. Ian gently took Sam's hand. He led her to his favorite little restaurant. The lights were soft and dim, and the music drifted through the air so sweetly, as if the whole world had prepared this moment just for them. While Sam was looking around with such wonder and delight, Ian leaned in and mysteriously asked her to close her eyes. Then, she felt a soft, warm touch, brushing gently against her wrist. When she opened her eyes, and she saw it, Ian had surprised her with a beautiful, delicate bracelet. Ian carefully traced every charm on the bracelet, as he spoke softly of the countless moments they had shared together. Every single detail was a testament to filled with his deep affection and love for Sam. In this moment, he only wanted her to know that his past selfishness and coldness could be redeemed on this very day, even if it meant giving his life to do so. He pointed to a tiny heart on the bracelet, explaining, "This is my favorite part, because it represents my whole heart. And now, this heart will beat for you, forever." Sam was so moved by Ian's heartfelt words that her eyes brimmed with tears. She felt a lump in her throat, longing to pour out her love for him in return. As they stepped out of the restaurant, the sky was still weeping, rain falling like tears, but the pouring rain couldn't dampen the burning passion in Ian's heart. Instead, it only fueled the fire, making his love burn even brighter and uncontrollable. Without a moment's hesitation, he confessed his love to Sam once more. Right then, that familiar taxi pulled up right in front of them. Sam stepped inside without a second thought. This time, Ian chose to go with her. The driver was the same mysterious man, only now, a faint smile played on his lip. As the car slowly pulled away, the streetlights blurred into a moving painting outside the window. Gazing at the passing world, his heart overflowed with memories of Sam, and the countless moments they had shared. All those sweet words and shared laughter, every tender embrace, and every day and night they had shared, played out like a movie, flashing vividly through his mind. That overwhelming surge of emotion kept crashing against his heart, wave after wave. He still felt breathless, as if 1,000 unspoken words were swirling his throat. Yet this time, only Sam was the one to wait. Fate had swapped their places, separating them by the thin veil of life and death. Even though Ian had caught a glimpse of the shifting storms of the future, he knew deep down that he could never truly escape from fate, or break free from its invisible stage. Since he was destined to face fate head-on, he chose to make a fearless sacrifice to ensure his beloved would remain safe and sound. We all understand the many truths of this world, how fleeting youth is, how deep the bonds of family run, and how unique a true love can be. We cherish them like the rarest of treasures, knowing their worth and that they can never be replaced. But the noise and trifles of daily life often cause us to neglect our inner world. We slowly forget that our feelings need to be savored and nurtured with all our heart. By the time we finally wake up and look back, we realize those precious moments, once within our reach, have already turned into mist and drifted far away, leaving behind nothing but a heart heavy with regret. Why is it that only after time has slipped away do we wake from our slumber, filled with such remorse? Why is it only after we lose everything that we finally understand just how incredibly precious what we once had truly was? Perhaps this is the most profound lesson that time can ever teach us. Only through the hollow ache of loss can we truly realize that we only learn to cherish what we had once it's gone. So, why not reach out and seize the chance while that person is still right there by your side? Tell them those 3 simple words right now. I love you. I believe they will hold you in their arms and never let go. May we all find a love that stands the test of time and build a world where our hearts beat as one. As the years drift by, may love remain unchanged. Cherish every precious moment and never let your beloved down.